Hi and welcome to the podcast. My name is Kristen. You can find me on Instagram as Skein Yarn and on Mowry as K10, that's K10. Hope you're doing really well. Today is Thursday the 13th of March, so we have officially rolled into autumn, which is lovely, although it's still very, very hot, and yeah, we haven't got autumn weather yet, so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, it is a lovely sunny day outside today, which is completely the opposite to what it was last week, where we had the cyclone, which was just north of us in Brisbane, and we sort of got the tail end of the weather. So we had lots of wind and rain, and yeah, we actually ended up closing the studio down. I think we left on Wednesday, and then we didn't go back till was it Tuesday or Monday? Anyway, yeah, the weather was so crazy. So yeah, we just bunkered down at home. I did lots of knitting, lots of painting, and just sort of hoping that there was no damage happening around our area, and also yeah, hoping that the cyclone wasn't going to really affect Brisbane, because I've got a lot of people there who I know, and friends and family, and yeah, it's quite scary. But yes, I think everybody in the north coast from Brisbane down to us have been affected. There's been lots of flooding, and yeah, it's been horrible, so I'm glad it's over. But yes, on the plus side of that, I did get, like I said, a lot of knitting done, and I have finished something. This is the Thru lines shawl by, I think she calls it scarf, by Andrea Mowry. And yeah, it was such an enjoyable knit. And I think I had gotten about halfway, just over halfway, and then I just sort of powered on and just finished it. It is very long, but one of the beauties of this pattern is that your knitting's like side to side, so there's not a lot of stitches to actually work, so you can knit this up very, very quickly. It's a mixture of slip stitches and obviously stripes and I think ribbing. Yes, ribbing. And yeah, it's a really lovely project. I really enjoyed it. There are about 16 pattern repeats, which initially is a bit to sort of get your head around and to remember, but after a couple of repeats it's very easy. You can just see, look at your knitting, what you've already done, and you can work out which row you're on, so very easy to memorize. I made mine using our Sportlicious base. You can also use fingering weight if you wanted to. You could also knit this using a DK weight and have a nice thicker, heavier scarf. And yeah, the colors I used are Eclipse, which is the brown, and Tequila, which is the kind of light neutral, and Fluoro Peach for the pop of color. And yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed knitting this. Usually with shawls I get to a point where I'm just over it and I just need to finish it, but I actually found this quite comforting to knit. I don't know what it was about it, maybe because it was a little bit more involved than normal. I'm not sure, I just really enjoyed it. And I really love working with colour, so I think that helped a lot. Striping the colors in, and yeah, I just loved it. It's funny too though, when I finished knitting this and had it off the needles, it was very kind of curly, the fabric. It sort of all curled up and it didn't look great, and I was thinking, I hope it will block out okay and sit flat, and it did. So yeah, I put it back on. I am a little bit hot, but I kind of feel like I want to wear something knitted because I haven't been able to for weeks. I'm also wearing my Estuary skirt by So Liberated, I think. Sorry, I'll just look at my notes. Yes, So Liberated. I made this, I think it was a couple of years ago. I actually bought the fabric, it was on sale from a beautiful fabric place in Sydney. I think they have a store in Melbourne called Tessuti. They had a linen sale, and I bought this and another fabric, another linen, and I made the other linen into a dress, which is their pattern. They do their own patterns and they're gorgeous. Actually, I've made a couple of their patterns, and then I decided to do, I had this laying around and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with it. I really loved this kind of dusky, pinky, reddy stripes, but I didn't want to turn it into a dress, so I ended up doing the Estuary skirt, and it's really good. The only problem is I made a size too large. I should have gone down a size. The wonderful thing about this skirt is that there's an elastic section on the back, so there's lots of give. So when I started sewing it, I thought I wasn't sort of taking into consideration the stretch of the elastic, so it actually fits around my waist, and I wanted it to sit high waist, but yeah, it's just a little bit too loose, so it does kind of slouch down a bit. So if I do make it again, I will go down a size, but I can still wear it, and I still really love the skirt. I really love this fabric. I actually found buttons in my stash, so these are all different buttons. So I put 2 small buttons at the top of the waistband, and then I found similar red buttons for the bottom, but they're all different. And yeah, it's such a really lovely make, and it's got really big pockets, so that's even more, makes the pattern even better. So yeah, highly recommend this one. And I actually do have like a rusty colour linen in my fabric stash, so I think I was going to make a dress with that, but I'm yeah, a bit unsure about that. But I think I might make another Estuary skirt and then try going down a size and seeing how that sews up. But anyway, I haven't sewn anything for weeks, but I am starting to get the sewing bug again, and I have been looking at some patterns online. There's one in particular, I can't remember, I think it might be the Regalia blouse, Sew House 7, I think that's what it's called, and that's more of a kind of a wintry long sleeve high neck blouse, and I'm really keen to sew that, so I am thinking of buying that. I don't usually like getting PDF patterns. I used to, but I just can't stand piecing them together. It takes so long. And actually we have a copy shop close to our studio, so I have used them before. When I can't get the paper patterns, I'll get the PDFs and I'll send the PDFs to this copy shop, and then they print them out on big, I think they're like the sheets that architects use for plans, and yeah, it's fantastic. I just cut them out, so I have, and I keep them too. Obviously, if I want to make them again, I roll them up and I store them in a little actually a basket similar to this one. So yeah, but this top that I'm thinking of making, it comes in a paper pattern, so I'm gonna buy that, and yeah, that should be good. Okay, whips. I have so many works in progress. I just keep seeing stuff and casting things on, and I'm glad I finished this scarf, because then it gave me permission to cast on something else. In fact, I don't even care. Usually if I find something, or if I see something that I really love, I just cast it on. I know I'm going to finish things, so I'm not too worried about it. But I did pick up and start working on my Traveler's Shawl, which is another Andrea Mowry pattern. And I have done it's just kind of like a jigsaw puzzle at the moment. So I've done all the body, and I've done the 2 fronts, so they sit up like that, and I'm just doing the back. So once I finish the back, which is very simple, it's just no shaping until you get up to the very top, which is great. Once I finish that, then I can connect the shoulders and then just do the sleeves, and then it's the front band. So it's really interesting. I was thinking about this the other day while I was working on it. For such a simple looking design, it's just a boxy, oversized cardigan. It's actually quite complicated, and not complicated in a hard way. It's just a lot of thought has gone in by Andrea Mowry into the pattern to make it fit really well. There's a lot of shaping. There's a lot of German short rows for the fronts, for the shoulders. It's just it's a really good pattern. It looks simple, and it is simple to knit, but there is a lot of shaping. There's a lot going on. So yeah, I have like cords here, there, and everywhere holding on to live stitches while I work. So I'm going to be really happy when I join it all up and it's one whole body. But I guess that's what happens when you knit bottom up, because you get to this stage where you've got lots of sort of loose fabric hanging around while you're finishing off the yoke, which usually means short rows and things for the shaping. So it can be a bit of a pain at times, but I am really loving this. And this is the second Traveler's Shawl that I have made, and yeah, it's a great pattern, and I'm really looking forward to finishing it for autumn. So hopefully I can power on with this. I have quite a few whips, as I mentioned. I think my oldest is a sweater of my own design that I was working on with new yarn. That's probably the oldest, and I actually don't have much to do for that. So maybe I should spend more time on that and get that finished, and then work on this one. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I mean, usually I'll sit down, and depending on how I feel, sometimes if I'm really tired, I'll just pick up socks, or I usually get my projects to a point where I have like some that are in more complicated stages than others. So if I have a bit more energy, like on the weekends, I can pick up something that requires a bit more thinking, and then if I'm working on something on the weekdays and I'm tired, then I can pick up something that's an easy, I'm at more of an easy stage with it, so like bodies and sleeves and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's good. That's my excuse anyway, from having lots of whips, because you can sort of spend time on them as you feel like it. So the Traveler's Shawl that I'm knitting, this is using our frizz base, which is a boucle fingering weight base. It's so soft. It's such a lovely yarn. It's 100% merino, and the colourway is Whimsy, which is one of our new colours that I've dyed that are variegated. So yeah, and I haven't done anything fancy with this one. I have been talking about in my past podcasts about alternating skeins and doing them randomly, so you get more of a even coverage of colour. But with this one, I've just alternated skeins every 2 rows because it's back and forth. And I think the stitch pattern helps too, because it's a reverse stockinette stitch on one side, which creates these little ridges, and I think having stitch patterns like that with variegated yarn, it kind of helps to break up the colours. So I also was thinking that these colours, I was thinking that these colours, which is part of our spice collection, which are all variegated, the way that they're dyed, they could actually be used too for assigned pooling. So that's another option as well. But yeah, anyway, so this is the Andrea Mowry Traveller Shell, and yeah, let's hope I can get this finished soon so I can wear it when the cool weather arrives. I should mention too, I spent last weekend, because I couldn't go out, we couldn't do anything, I had my basket sitting next to the couch, and I love my knitting basket, but I do find putting projects individually into it a bit of a pain because they do tangle up. So what I ended up doing was I had lots of leftover yarns in the bottom of the basket. Surprisingly, I had no needles. I don't know where all my needles are. I know they're around somewhere, but they're not in my basket, which is where they normally should be. So yeah, I gave it a really good clean out, and I organized all my projects, and it was great. I've given each project its own project bag, and I just shove them in the knitting basket when I'm not using them, and yeah, it's been so good, and I'm so glad I did it because I've been wanting to organize my whips for quite some time. So yeah, actually this is a cute little bag that I got for Christmas, just a little thought from my parents. It says cats, coffee and books. It's just so cute. Okay, so let's move on. I did I worked on my Violet tee, I believe it's called. Yes, Violet by Jessica McDonald. This is the tee that I was making for the tea knit along that we were hosting, which finished. But I've left the thread open, so if you're participating in that, just please go and put your finished objects, pictures in the thread, because yeah, it'd be great to see them. So I decided to work on this, and I have I've completed the bottom section, which I'm pretty sure I talked about last time, which is the lace. And yeah, can't wait to block that out because I think it's going to look beautiful. And yeah, I've just picked up for the sleeve, so this won't take very long actually. I really should try and finish this one too. This is all at a very easy stage now. I can just finish the sleeves, pick up the second sleeve, and then finish the neck, and it should be done really quickly. I'm using our Llano base, which is a merino linen for this one, and the colourway is New Beginnings. I've also been working on some vanilla socks for my dad, which I did mention last week, and I have gotten to the heel of the socks, and I'm just putting in a contrast for the heel, and I won't do contrasting toes, I don't think. I think I'll just leave the contrast at the cuff and the heel. This is using one of our Sugar Rush colours, which is sock sets that we dye up, and they are done in such a way that they micro stripe, which is really lovely when you're knitting socks. I think this is called Apple Turnover with Spirulina Smoothie, I think. I give them these fancy names and I can never remember them, but they're all one of a kind colours, so I don't know if there's any of this colour actually in the shop. There might be, but I don't dye a huge amount of each colour, so if you see something you like, grab it, because once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah, so this is just using my vanilla sock pattern, which is free, and I'll put a link to that below if you're interested. Okay, so one newish project which I cast on, I think I had just started it in the last podcast, is the Satama Shawl by Veera Välimäki. And what drew me to this shawl is the brioche. So it's a sort of faded effect where you have one color fading into another through brioche, and then knitting plain brioche with the second color and then fading back into the main color through brioche, and then I think it's a garter stitch, simple border. And I am so enjoying this. I've forgotten how much I really enjoy knitting brioche. I know a lot of people don't like knitting it because when you're knitting the 2-color brioche, you're sort of knitting one row then going back and knitting the same row again. So it can be a bit, I guess people find it a bit fiddly at times, but I really enjoy doing it. I love slipping and knitting. I just really like the process of the brioche stitch. So this is I'm using 2 different bases, mainly because I dyed up colors in El Merino, which is the green, which is Moonglade, and I was wanting to combine it with something with a bit of a pop, and we had Topaz in the shop, which is Uptown sock. So it's a single ply yarn, and this is a plied yarn. So yeah, they're knitting up really nicely together, and I just love this kind of peachy pink with the teal and the greens. They just work so nicely. So yeah, really enjoying this shawl. There's not really much to say except, that's the back side of the brioche. Yeah, it's going to look great once it's blocked, because you'll be able to see the 2-color brioche better. But yeah, I'm actually on the single brioche now, single color brioche, and yeah, it's lovely. It's nice and easy to knit, and yeah, can't wait to finish it. So this week I've been dyeing up our ACM yarn, which is our alpaca cotton merino, and it's a very fluffy yarn. It's lovely for cooler weather. So this is why I haven't actually dyed this throughout the summer, because knitting with this, it's kind of like knitting with mohair in summer. It's not really pleasant, but in autumn and winter, this is such a nice yarn to knit with and to wear. So while I was dyeing that up, coincidentally, there was 2 patterns that were released that would be perfect for this yarn, and actually I bought both of the patterns, but I've decided to cast on one. I will cast the other one on, but yeah. Anyway, so the first one that I saw, which was on Instagram, was the Torrin scarf by Rebecca Clow, who is Crema Knits, I believe, on Instagram and here on YouTube. She has a podcast. So the Torrin scarf is a very small scarflet, so these kind of patterns seem to be coming out at the moment because Northern Hemisphere is going into spring, so they're sort of lighter, smaller shawls. I really loved the stitch pattern of this shawl, and I thought what would be really nice is to knit it out of something that was speckled or a little bit variegated. I think that drop stitch pattern would be perfect. So I did buy the pattern, and I looked at the actual stitch pattern, and while it looks a little bit complicated, I think after a while it's kind of like that bubble stitch that Stephen West uses a lot, and I've used it in a shawl too. Initially when you work it, it's a bit fiddly, but after a while it's very simple. So I really am keen to knit that, and it's only a 1 skein project, and you can actually resize it, so you can knit it as big as you want or as small as you want. It just depends on where you start putting the decreases in. So yeah, it's a lovely pattern, lovely stitch pattern. So I saw that first, and I actually bought it, and I was going to cast it on, but then Isla, there was a new shawl called Isla that came out by Astrid Troland, who is, I think she's the designer of Biche Bouche yarn, and this caught my eye. And funnily enough, I had been eyeing off a couple of colours. They just were hanging together in the studio, and when I saw the shawl, I knew that I needed to use them for that. So these are the colours that I'm using. So we've got Rust, Crema and Petrol. Petrol has, it's a kind of a purpley green, but it has this purpley blue, but it has this green through it. So it's a very unusual colour, and it just sits really beautifully with Rust. It's like a really nice contrast. Anyway, here's the shawl, what I've done so far. This is in one night. I knit this last night while I was watching TV. I love this stitch pattern. Now again, it's a slip stitch, so I seem to like slip stitch kind of patterns, because we've got Brioche that's slip stitch, this was a slip stitch, and then now this is a slip stitch. So I must really enjoy doing that kind of knitting. It's very much like a small houndstooth, which I also really love too, that houndstooth pattern. So with this shawl, it's tiny. It's a triangular shape, but it's very, very small. And the pattern itself, the yarn that they recommend, the yarn company has labelled it as a DK weight yarn, and there's just no way that that would be a DK weight yarn. It's more sport or fingering weight. So sometimes yarn companies will label their yarns as something as fingering, DK, sport, whatever, but in actual fact when you look at the yardage, it's a lot lighter or a lot heavier. Anyway, it's such a lovely pattern. As you can see, it knits up really quickly. The only thing is I only have one repeat left before I start the stripe section and the garter stitch border. So what I might do is add one more repeat, and then, because I still want it to be a very small scarf, I just want it to sit like a bandana, like just very small. I think it will look really lovely, but yes, I don't want it to be too big, but then I don't want it to be really small either. So I'm going to add a little bit more length to it, width to it, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. And then because it doesn't use a lot of yarn, what I plan to do is knit a second one, and then I'm going to reverse the colours. So I'm thinking, in where the blue is on this, I'm thinking of using the white, and then where the orange is with the stripes, I'm thinking of using the blue. So reversing it and see what happens. And then I might wear both. I might have one as a sample in our shop, or I'll just give the other one, the second one, away. But yeah, it's lovely. And this ACM is actually very soft, so it does wear nicely around the neck, so it'll be lovely and warm to wear in autumn and winter. Okay. Oh, and I just want to mention too, with our shop, we are now open by appointment. We're not open all the time, just because there's only two of us, and we just can't man the front of the shop all the time. But we are opening up for appointments. So if you're up in Coffs Harbour anytime, you just contact us and we can arrange a time and a day for you to come and have a look. We've actually done a big studio clean and whipped up the front of the shop, so it looks very presentable and nice, and we've got all of our yarns laid out, and it looks really, really lovely. Actually, I might put a little video in at the end, because I took a little bit of video the other day. So yeah, that's it for all of my whips and faux and everything. I do have a little bit of yarn to show you. So with that shawl, I did actually put together a few colour combinations with the yarn that we have in the shop this week. So if you're interested in knitting the, did I even say what the name was? I think it's the Isla by Astrid Troland. So if you're interested in knitting Isla, I will be posting a little bit on Instagram too, the colours that I had put together for this shawl. But yes, anyway, I don't have all the colours here, so I can't actually show you the colours that I put together, but I'll show you what I've dyed up for the shop. So we have, I believe this is Pink Almond, which is a lovely sort of neutral, natural purple. I did quite a few speckles because I was thinking of making the Torrin shawl by Rebecca Clow, which I spoke about before, and I was thinking it'd be nice to do some sort of speckly shawl, and I am still planning on doing that. So I did dye up a few speckles, and as you can see, it sort of dyes up a lot like mohair does with speckles. It sort of softens the speckles down and yeah, sort of smudges the speckles. It looks really pretty. I like the effect. So this is Cinder. And then we have Blackberry, which is a very lovely deep purple. This goes really nicely with Fluoro Peach. Again, it's one of my favorite colors, Fluoro Peach. Fluoro Peach goes with lots of different colors. Then we have a lovely green, which is Sushi. And then another speckle, which is Bloom. This is one of my favorites. I like this color. Then we have Strawberries and Cream. And another speckle, which is Mineral. I really like this one. Actually, this would be lovely for a sweater, I think. And then we have some, I put some neutrals in too this time. I've got Silver and I've got Char. And what else can I'll show you one more. This is one of my favorites too. This is Cocoa Bean. I love this color purple. It's sort of, it's not an in-your-face purple. It's a very natural, toned down, reddy purple. Almost pink. Pinkish, dusky, deep dusky pink. So yeah, so that is it for this week. I hope you're all doing really well, and yeah, like I said, if you're ever in Coffs Harbour, please contact us via the website and come and call in and say hi. Yeah, hope you're all doing really well, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.